We've got your back is our message to Australian parents.
We've asked a question repeatedly on the show. How do we regulate social media for children? How do we protect children from harmful content? Well, Australia has tried to answer this question. Their parliament passed a legislation on Thursday. It has banned social media for children under 16. They cannot use the likes of TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. I guess that's one way to go. Forget regulation, ban the whole thing. Australia is the first country to try something like this. Their Prime Minister says it is all about protecting kids.
Platforms now have a social responsibility to ensure the safety of our kids is a priority for them. We're making sure that mums and dads can have that different conversation today and in future days. We've got your back is our message to Australian parents.
Big tech obviously is not happy. They're calling this law vague and concerning. Meta says it was rushed through without weighing the evidence. But what about the people of Australia? What do they think? Polls show 77% Australians support this law. But some people on the other side do make valid points. They say it's a free speech issue. They ask why the government is getting involved at all. Shouldn't parents decide what's good for their children?
I don't think it's a good thing, really, because I think that it's not going to stop it, and also the government's taking control of things that is parents' responsibility, because parents are going to keep still using their social media, aren't they?
I mean, like, not to sound like an old fart, but when I was a child, it was my parents' responsibility to not police, but like, you know, enforce what I was doing and like make sure that I was not, you know, exposing myself to any harm. And I think that maybe a government intervention is probably unnecessary on such a wide scale.
The law has certainly triggered a debate, and not just in Australia. People in Europe are weighing in too. So are people in Latin America and Asia. On that front, great job by the Australian government. They have certainly triggered a conversation. But beyond that, there are two questions here. One, how do you enforce this law? And two, were bans really necessary? This law is expected to be enforced in late 2025, but starting January, there will be a trial. A number of approaches are being considered, like biometric verification, selfie verification, and document verification. Rest assured, kids will try to fool these tests, so the system will have to evolve. The onus is on social media platforms to uphold this ban. If not, they face fines of up to $32 million. And let's be honest here, it won't be easy to enforce this ban, which brings us to the second question. Is banning a step too far? Frankly, it's not a yes or no question, because for starters, what is the alternative? A lot of experts used to suggest content moderation, removing harmful stuff from social media. But how many platforms have actually done that? If you look at X, the opposite is happening. Regulations have been relaxed instead of being tightened. But let's assume that you ask big tech to behave, to filter content for kids. Most of these companies are based in the United States. Their CEOs are trying to be best buddies with the incoming US president. Why would they listen to your government? Chances are they wouldn't. So decisions like these have to be judged based on context. And right now, that means two things. One, social media is harmful for children. Multiple studies have confirmed that beyond a doubt, whether it's disturbing sleep patterns or affecting attention skills or impairing social skills or decreased academic performance. Most doctors also agree with this. Social media is bad for children. And number two, we haven't had one viable solution. So it's easy to sit around and criticize Australia's ban, but what other options do we really have? If big tech voluntarily cleaned up its act, this wouldn't be necessary. And don't get me wrong, we're not saying that this ban is a perfect answer. We're saying it's worth a shot. As for the free speech argument, let's give it a break. More than half the world doesn't have that freedom anyway. So I'm sure Australia's democracy will do fine without 15-year-old keyboard activists. But I will say this. Canberra is putting itself under a lot of pressure. Succeed or fail, this law will go down in the history books. And we say implementation will define its legacy.